Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, leave it in the ring.
Hall of Fame trainer Freddie Roach is now live on the line. Freddie, is that you? Or are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, how you doing?
Hey,
I'm
Freddie,
doing great. This is Gabe Montoya and Dave Duenas of Leave It in the Ring. I'm sure you remember us. How you doing, Freddie?
I'm fine. Yeah.
I'm doing great, man. And San Francisco's treating me well. Dave, I'm going to let you open up the questions and with Freddie.
Hey, Freddie, you know, my thought right now is with Miguel Cotto, and this has kind of been on my mind ever since hearing that you guys started working together. With Miguel Cotto, who in his past recent fights, he's looked like he's kind of got back into getting on his toes, making more movement in his hands and his feet, going back to the tradition of being a boxer. What do you think you add to the camp now with him doing that? Do you take that away from him and try to get him back to settle down on his feet to put some more punching power behind his punches? Because that kind of disappeared in my opinion after he had Pedro Diaz. Where Pedro Diaz was more of a Olympian style coach and didn't focus on the power. He focused more on the footwork and movement.
Yeah, the thing is, he's an amateur coach, and he has that passive defense. And in passive defense, there's no counter punching. There's no counter shots. He just blocks the shot and kind of really with your hands up, and you leave your body open, and you leave yourself vulnerable to body shots. But I wanted to see the old Miguel Cotto that has a great left hook to the body and breaks people down, and breaks them down and gets them out of there in the later rounds. And we've been working on that quite a bit, and he's getting better and better every day. And we sparred 9 rounds today. It was his best day yet, and so I'm really happy where he's at right now. And for a guy who might be looking like he's towards the end of his career, his work ethic is very, very good. He's unbelievable. He works every morning. We come in at 5 a.m. We do strength and conditioning, and we work till 8 o'clock in the morning. We work 3 hours there, and then he goes home and rests for a while, get some food in him, and he comes back at 2 o'clock, and 2 to 4 we're doing the boxing workout. And we're averaging 12 rounds of mitts a day, and he's up to 9 rounds of sparring today. I told him, I said, when I think about Miguel Cotto, I think about that left hook to the body and back to the head, and I want to see that guy back, and it's getting there.
You think though? Let me ask you this. Do you think it's a bit of a gamble? Because like you mentioned ago, some people have thought that he's at the end of his career. He is fighting at 154, so he's fighting bigger men. Is this a bit of a gamble in your part to try to take him back the way he fought in the past?
Well, at 154, he's a little stronger than he was at 47, I think. But the thing is, in this training camp, his weight's been so good. He's only 2 pounds over to right now as we speak. And I think it might be realistic that his next fight would be more so at 47. Seeing how the weight comes off and how he comes in for this fight, I really think 47 is maybe a possibility, because I think that might be a better weight for him. I think he's maybe a lot stronger there, and physically, he could, for a 54-pounder, he's not the biggest guy in the world.
Right.
Do you think it was a part of his choice of you as a trainer? And there are some people that agree or disagree with it. And to me, I just think that there's very few guys with this much big fight experience. But did that play into it for him? But also the fact that you had studied him so well and were able to defeat him when he was still closer to his prime than he is now.
Yeah, the thing is, it was an unusual call. Miguel Cotto called him Freddie Roach, and he says, I have 3 or 4 fights left in me. Can you help me? And I was really flattered by the call, to be honest with you, because but I feel like if I can help a fighter, that's what I do for a living, and that's what I want to be best at. And I think I have helped them. We've had a great training camp, and I think some people don't understand that when you get an older fighter, you can't just push, and just like do more, and it's going to work just because you're working harder. I think you have to really take a look at them and see, where the strengths and weaknesses are. But like he used to run 6 days a week, every day of his life. I cut him back to 3 days a week, and then we're doing machines and less strenuous stuff on his off days. And he feels a lot better. His weight's come down, and he's on a very good diet right now. And I just know I think I can treat a fighter that's been around for a while like he should be treated. I think the thing is you can't just push because it doesn't work that way.
It's like
I remember like 2 years ago. I remember like 2 years ago you had mentioned that you wanted to work with Miguel Cotto as well too. That you guys thought you guys would make a good pair.
Well, the thing is, I like offensive fighters, and I'm a very offensive-minded trainer, and I believe to win fights you have to throw punches, and so we do click together pretty well, and the body work he's been using is it has been great. So I love what we're doing so far, and it's working great.
Have you had you got a lot going on at Wild Card right now, as always. Is GSP coming through there? Because I know Gavin McMillan, he's going to be actually on the show later, is now kind of taking over more of a role as a strength coach there. Can you talk about his role and in relation to the other fighters that you're working with, the GSP and Provodnikov?
Yeah, well, Gavin's worked out really well. He worked with Ruslan in his last fight, and we had a good performance, I felt, and he's a very knowledgeable guy. And I was looking for a strength coach, and I called George St. Pierre, and he told me Gavin's the best he's ever worked with. And George did leave here a couple of days ago. We worked for 10 days straight on his next fight, the Hendricks fight coming up, and we worked on the strategy of the fight and how to beat this guy. I think we have a very good game plan down. George, when we set the game plan for the Koscheck fight, it worked perfectly, and I think I set a game plan for this fight that will work perfectly also. It make it a lot easier for George, and so he's back up in Canada now doing his groundwork and so forth. But he's going to make one more visit to LA before the fight does happen, and we'll just have the finishing touch up. And we did record our workout, so he does have everything on tape. So if he doesn't get a chance to come down, because my schedule is so busy, and if I don't get to talk to him again, he can just watch the tapes over and over, and he knows what he has to do to win the fight, though. And Gavin's been working out really well, and he meets Miguel every morning at 5 a.m. in my gym, and they do the strength work, and then we go to the mountains. We go the hill run a couple of days ago. We actually have 8 mile run uphill. It's a great run, but
brutal.
But Miguel wanted to add something too. So Miguel said, "I'll meet you guys back at the gym." And he ran all the way to the gym. He turned it into an 11.5 mile run. So, I mean, when you get guys who want to work like that and they work ethic great, it makes it a lot more fun. And it's really nice to have someone that has great work ethic like Manny Pacquiao and so forth. And that's why these guys are still functional and still in action, because their work rates are so high.
In a certain sense, because you've had some turnover in the stable and people come and go, but people are a little bit doubting Manny. They're not sure what he's going to be like. You've got Ruslan Provodnikov, who's coming on the scene, and I think I'm picking him to knock Mike Alvarado out in about 8-9 rounds. You've got GSP also, who's at the top of his game, but and with Cotto where he is, do you almost feel like you're kind of back at where you started, in that you've got all these guys that are hungry and are dying to prove something, instead of kind of being at the mountaintop and expected to win?
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, you can't just take the jobs that are easy and so forth. And I believe, Miguel, he had the balls to call me up and ask me if I could help him. Because I mean, the last time we had spoke before that, it was at the weigh-in for Pacquiao, and we didn't have that kind words to each other. Believe me. I mean, and I didn't even know. I thought he didn't even like me, to be honest with you, at that point, because the Pacquiao fight, there was some nasty things said to each other, and but he fired at me and I fired back, or vice versa. But to get a call like that, and someone that with his kind of talent that wants help, that I'm going to jump at that every time, because if I can make someone a better fighter, I'll do that. So I mean, I'm doing my best job I can. My passion for him to be the best he can be in this fight is 100%. I mean, there's guys out there tell me that I can't push fighters no more, and I want to be an actor or something like that. Comments like that. I said, shit, I spend 12 hours a day in this gym every day of my life, and this is what I do. I mean, so when a guy like Miguel Cotto says, I think I still have some fight left in me, can you give me a hand? I'm going to say yes, and if it's a bit of a challenge for me, yes, but I love challenges.
Well, has Miguel mentioned what fights are out there that he's looking at, and or possible rematches that he really wants yet, Freddie? Has he talked to you about that?
Well, the thing is, we do talk about future opponents sometimes, because Delvin Rodriguez is on our mind, because he's not an easy fight. He's a very difficult style. He's kind of an awkward fighter, but it's hard not to look forward, of course. And there's Martinez out there. He says he can make 54. That could be a possibility. Of course, Mayweather. I mean, he has 4 more opponents on his contract with Showtime, and he doesn't have any pay-per-view audience type guys. Cotto could fit right in there. Actually, it looks impressive in this next fight. I mean, I look back, I say, who's Mayweather going to fight? Amir Khan? Like, come on, Amir Khan, he's a good kid and all that, but he doesn't have a pay-per-view audience, and they if they don't get 2 fighters that have a pay-per-view audience for Mayweather as much money as he's making, they're not going to be able to afford to do it.
Right.
So, I mean, I think Showtime can you name 4 guys that Mayweather can fight right now and make money?
No.
I certainly can't.
I mean, not guys right now. Maybe in the future, but he's not. Suppose he's not going to be here for that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, I think Marquez.
Well,
if Marquez beats Bradley.
the contract does have a time limit on it, but like Timothy Bradley, he doesn't draw any people either. He can't even sell out his hometown stadium.
Yeah.
It's like
Marquez, if he beats Bradley, I think would be an option.
Well, Marquez, but he's already beat Marquez. That's already been done.
Right. It wasn't even close. Yeah.
No.
It's going to be interesting, because they're on Showtime.
Marquez's body type has changed a little bit, though, so maybe it's possible.
It is true. I heard he's going into modeling, actually, after boxing. One of our Twitter followers asked a question. Who do you think has the best chance at beating Floyd? Garcia, Triple G, Canelo in a rematch if he gets to weigh 54, Ruslan, or Manny?
Triple G's like a big guy. Can they agree on the weight? Because Mayweather's getting he weighed 50, and I mean Pacquiao at 47 has a chance, but he's with HBO and he's with Showtime, and one's with Bob Arum and one's with Golden Boy. I mean, these guys are so far apart. Is it possible to make these fights? I mean,
that's the thing.
I really get frustrated because these guys won't put the best fights together and let the best fighters fight each other. like back in the day when King and Aram were there, they didn't like each other, but they did business together. But now these guys are getting, they will ruin the sport if they're worried about MMA or UFC taking boxing over. They will if we don't get off our ass and let these guys fight each other.
Let me ask you this on the way out. I agree with you too, but also the other hand, on the other hand, is the judging. What happened with C.J. Ross and what's going on in Nevada? What are your thoughts there? Do you think we're at a point where we really need to, if we can't do it worldwide, we got to get something going here in some sort of organization?
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, they should have like a national commission, like, so all the rules are the same, everyone judges the same format and so forth. It's like the Mayweather fight. I mean, the thing is, he's great at what he does, but it was a little bit boring and it's a little bit slow. And I get kind of to a point where I don't pay attention to the fight so much because it's so boring. And I'm sure that the judges are human also, and I'm sure that it does happen to them also. So I'm not sure if maybe it was just such a lackluster fight that she was just giving rounds to maybe
just to give
the better looking guy.
Right.
But I mean, she was a judge back when I fought and so forth, and like a lot of these judges are a little bit older, but they were old when I fought also. I think there has to be retirement age for judges also, and they should be. No, I mean, let's face it. When we get older, we don't see quite as well as we used to. We can't really pay attention to the. I mean, like. I get up and went to the fridge and got a bottle of water and stuff like that, rather than watch Mayweather dance around. So I mean, it's just
I mean, Grandma Drive, Yeah.
I mean, he's really good at what he does and stuff like that. But I mean, it is boring though.
I mean, this is. I think this is the way.
Agreed.
I got up to go to the bathroom, walked over to the kitchen, got myself a plate. Got myself a drink. I mean, that was a total of already 8 minutes or 10 minutes. Came back and sat down and said, "He's still winning, right?" And everybody looked at me like, "Yeah, he's dominating." That's a Mayweather fight. You don't miss a beat with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he says he's giving the fans what they want, but I don't agree with him because I'd rather see Manny Pacquiao go in a fight and get knocked out trying to win than just trying to win on points. I mean, that's what he did in his last fight. I mean, it was a hard knockout, yes, and so forth. But it's part of life. It's part of boxing. And he said I made him take a whole year off, and he wanted to come back in April, and I said no, it's too soon. Make sure you're okay, because with the concussions we see in football and hockey and other sports, that there are problems with that. So I wanted to make sure he was 100% okay. He passed all the tests, all the doctors he needs to see, and he's hungry to get back in the ring right now. And he's hungry for me to get there. So the day after Miguel Cotto's fight, I fly home on the 6th, and on that night at 10 p.m. I fly to the Philippines, and I'll be in General Santos on the 7th, and we'll have 7 weeks to get ready for the fight. And he's already started training camp, and he's already in shape and getting ready for me. But we'll start sparring 6 weeks out, and we got a big fight ahead of us. And I told Manny that for this particular fight, you need to really shine to get back to where you need to be and where you want to be.
Is Brandon Rios the right opponent to shine, for Manny's comeback fight?
Well, we wanted a rematch for, but he wouldn't give us one, and he gave up a lot of money not to fight us. Marquez did. So, but the thing is, we really wanted a rematch, but we couldn't get it. So, I mean, this is a young kid coming up. He's coming off a loss himself. But I think he's a good fight, a good opponent, because both guys like to fight. They both like to trade, and I look forward to it. I think Manny will knock him out in the late rounds, but it won't be easy till that point. It's gonna be a tough fight. Manny has to be 100% ready for that. And the thing is, once I see Manny's work ethic go the other way and not work as well, I will ask him to retire. And we do have an agreement that the moment I tell him to retire, he will. So
I haven't made my pick on this one yet, Freddie, but I got to tell you, I really like this matchup. I know there's questions on both guys' ends. For one, stopping him, I think that's a task within itself because Brandon Rios has kind of shown he's got a really good chin, but he also shows that he can be touched as well. And I think the big question for on everybody's mind is how much does that KO of Manny in his last fight with Marquez stay in his mind? So I think it's a great matchup.
Yeah, and Manny's a realist, though, and Manny's been knocked out twice before, and it never bothered him. He understands that's part of the sport. He told me after the fight, if you don't think you can be knocked out in this sport, you picked the wrong sport because it can happen. He's a realist, and he was 100% fine after the knockout, and he was I was talking to him, and he had all his faculties together and so forth, and then we did have a lot of tests done on him and so forth, and so we're trying to do the right thing with him and make the right decision. But again, we won't know until the fight because the gym is a gym and the fight's a whole different place, and if it does come out, it'll come out in the fight. That's for sure. So we know this is a critical fight for us, and a win could put us in a good spot, and losses maybe is the end of the career.
Yeah. That's true, and like your brother Pepper's fond of saying, it don't hurt to get knocked out. You don't feel a thing. So I think Manny's going to be okay. I think it would be one thing if he was broken down over a long fight.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, if you get knocked out by one punch, it's better than taking a beating for 12 rounds. There's less damage, of course. But the thing is, it's still devastating, and it's got to be on his mind a little bit, of course. The thing is, hard to forget things like that. But but we're going to have a positive camp, and he's already training, and he's training every other day and playing basketball on his off days, and so he's running the court, and he loves basketball. So, it's a very good fight, though. It's a great TV fight, and I can't wait to watch that fight myself.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I can't wait to. It's going to be explosive. I mean, I think both guys bring something to the table. I wouldn't count out Brandon Rios at all. Like I said, I think he's proven that he's a warrior. He comes to fight, and he could take a punch. I think it's to me right now, Freddie. I think it's a 50-50 fight. Until I see something for either one of the guys of who could take advantage. I think it's going to be on fight night when we see who could take advantage of the other.
Right, and I'm sure they have their game plan, and I have mine, and whoever pulls it off is going to win. So the thing is I've trained Manny for a long time now, but I mean we're going against a good team. Brandon Rios is a good fighter, and Robert Garcia is a good coach. So it's a great fight, a compelling fight. I think it's going to be and then China being the host is going to be a little bit different, and ringside tickets at $3,080. So I had to buy my girlfriend one. So that's why I know.
That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you, Freddie. Always a pleasure. You gave us a little more time than we had allotted, and just always appreciate it, man. Hope to get back down to LA and stop by the gym sometime.
Yeah, come down anytime. Well, I'm here till the 29th, and then we go to Florida for 5 days and get the Cotto fight out of the way, and then off to the Philippines. And if you guys want to come to General Santos, you're more than welcome.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Check it out.
All right then,
man. Take care.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
You too.